A pack of dogs attacks a woman while she's in her yard. We're tracking the investigation.
Deputies in Clark County are charging a man with murder while the medical examiner is still trying to figure out the identity of the murder victim.
After a church bus crashed, a dozen teenagers were taken to the hospital. Dozens more are waiting here in Frankfort. We'll take you inside the church that they're staying at coming up.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5.
Good afternoon. It was pretty vicious. A pack of dogs attacked a woman in her garden, and now that victim is at UK recovering from some serious injuries.
The attack happened this morning on Julian Lane, north of Stanford in Lincoln County. We're learning the owner of the dogs just got them back after an animal cruelty case. WKYT's Victor Puente has more in our top story at 5.
The dogs police say attacked Loretta Stevens had spent the last 3 months at the Boyle County Animal Shelter. The Lincoln County Sheriff says they were released back to their owner just last week. This morning, those dogs got out of their kennel on Tom Hackley Road and went to a nearby home where the woman living there told a neighbor the 7 Prisa Canarios attacked her dogs, and when she tried to get them to stop, they turned on her.
She told me when she called that she was half in her door and half out her back door, and that there was a pack of dogs down there and that they had tore her to shreds. Please call 911, that she thought she was dying.
Police helped paramedics get to Stevens, who was taken to UK hospital. She's now in fair condition and told us she was going into surgery for damage to her arm. Deputies and animal control caught 6 of the dogs. The 7th was shot and killed. The dog's owner, Chris Pope, had fought to get them back after they were seized in Boyle County. Court records show he had 12 counts of animal cruelty reduced to 12 counts of mistreatment of a dog. The Danville Advocate Messenger said Boyle County Attorney Richard Campbell said the decision was made because if Pope went to trial and won, he would get the dogs back. Judge Jeffrey Dotson released the dogs last week, a decision the Lincoln County Sheriff isn't happy about.
I do know that they were considered vicious in Boyle County, and like I said before, I don't know why they was released back to him.
Workers at the Boyle County Animal Shelter told me that in the 3 months those dogs were there, they were aggressive to strangers, but they also said they'd gotten better at being around people. The man who put those kennels in for Chris Pope told me that he believed someone had tampered with them to let those dogs out, but the sheriff told me he believed the dogs clawed their way out. He also said he would be pursuing harboring vicious animal charges against Pope. In Lincoln County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Sheriff Folger says he does not believe Pope was living at that home where the dogs were being kept.
A man is in an Ohio jail accused of committing a murder in Clark County. The sheriff's office says that Roger Kinney killed a man after escaping from deputies back in May. But the body was not found until last week. WKYT's Kristen Kennedy is tracking this investigation.
To understand what happened, you have to go back to May 9th when deputies were arresting Roger Kinney on a charge of possession of a handgun by a convicted felon.
They were at Kinney's home on Twin Fork Lane. They had him in the back of the cruiser when deputies say he busted out a window and ran away while they were talking to his wife. The next day, May 10th, they say he killed someone. Deputies in Montgomery County got a tip about the murder. The Clark County Sheriff says they searched the property where they heard the victim was buried but didn't find anyone. The same person who originally told Montgomery County deputies what he knew about the murder was out late last week bush hogging Kinney's property when he smelled a decomposing body. He alerted deputies and they went out and found the body of a victim they believe died back in May.
The deceased person had never been reported as missing, which kind of complicates it because he's missing 2.5, almost 3 months. Had no reason to be looking for him, had no reason to feel like a homicide or anything that occurred or any foul play because simply he had never been reported missing by family or friends.
The sheriff here did want to thank the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office as well as the Warren County, Ohio Sheriff's Office. That's where Kinney is currently lodged. And coming up at 6, even though we can't release a name to you, we do have a little bit of information about that victim. In Clark County, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
And the sheriff also says more charges may be filed and more arrests may be made. This is still, he says, an open investigation.
A crash on Interstate 64 sent 15 people to the hospital. A church bus and an SUV collided around the 58-mile marker in the eastbound lanes in Franklin County. The bus was carrying a youth group on their way to Gatlinburg. WKYT's Mark Barber shows us what happened.
Grabbing their bags off their wrecked bus.
Kind of trying to process it all at the moment.
Everyone is checking their injuries.
I have a busted lip and I have a sore elbow.
I hit the back of the seat, so it was just kind of a rug burn, kind of rubbed the skin off my forehead.
Blake Terry is scraped and bruised, but he's one of the luckiest ones.
I saw the SUV fly across the side and I was just like stunned. That's when I saw people flying everywhere.
15 people were rushed to hospitals after the church bus carrying 34 teens crashed into the back of this mangled SUV.
We were headed down to a Teen Revolution conference in Gatlinburg.
The group from the Indianapolis area was halfway there when they hit traffic on I-64 East near Frankfort. Deputies say that's where the church bus driver slammed into the back of an SUV that was sitting in traffic from another crash involving an 18-wheeler.
After I saw the SUV or minivan that was flipped, I felt, I thought the worst.
A baby was in the vehicle. Deputies say fortunately the infant wasn't hurt, but the mother's arm was broken. 12 teenagers in the church bus were also hurt, but none were seriously injured. Crews brought the teenagers who were not hurt in the crash here to the Capital City Christian Church, where they were given something warm to eat and cool to drink. And most importantly, a break from the stress. Now, they're waiting for their friends who are still in the hospital to be released.
I'm happy everyone's okay.
In Frankfort,
I'm grateful. I'm very grateful, thankful.
Mark Barber, WKYT.
And police tell us the church bus driver will not be charged. Now, police think an earlier crash on I-64 is to blame for the one in Franklin County. Versailles police say a semi crashed into a box truck near a construction zone. That crash closed I-64 until about 10:30 this morning. Well, after a dry stretch of weather, we have showers and storms back in our forecast.
That is our Monday. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey's here with us, and he's going to show us where those storms are popping up.
Yeah, storms have kind of been a little of everywhere, guys, across the board this morning into the afternoon. Still going to carry some of those over into the evening hours, too. Defender, as you mentioned, popping up with a lot of those showers and storms. Not like we're tracking this big widespread cluster here or there, but it's more the typical summertime clusters of storms that go up. One or two trying to pop north side of the Lexington Metro. That extends a little farther to the east. Some slow movers here southeast of Carlisle, near Bath County, Owensville area, and farther to the south. Heaviest rains right now centered across parts of Breathitt and Wolfe counties. That extends a little farther to the south with some, say it with me, scattered thunderstorms that are out there. And that's going to be the name of the game through the afternoon, through the evening as well. After sunset, a lot of that stuff will begin to diminish, though it's a northwesterly wind flow over the next couple of days. That means we're going to have to keep an eye on whatever develops to our northwest for a complex or two of some stronger storms to try to drop in here, especially as we go into Wednesday ahead of a strong cold front. Those temperatures as of now, most of central and eastern Kentucky, not bad at all. Humidity, though, is off the charts. Most areas are low and mid 80s as of now. Throw the humidity into the mix and it certainly is going to feel a lot hotter than it actually is. Scattered storms around and some steam will finally give way to a little bit of pleasant air. We'll show you how August may start out on a decent note when I come back in a few minutes.
Family and friends said goodbye to two women killed in a movie theater shooting.
The gunman opened fire in the theater in Lafayette, Louisiana, before taking his own life. Kenneth Craig shows us how the victims will remember today.
Mourners embraced as they entered a funeral home to say a final goodbye to 33-year-old Jillian Johnson. The wife, artist, entrepreneur, and singer, was well known in the arts community here.
Jillian brings us all together in just a very special way, as only she could. It was just an amazing reflection on her life.
Johnson and 21-year-old Macy Bro were killed during John Hauser's shooting spree Thursday.
This is the program that was handed out at Johnson's service. There was music, several speakers, and prayers, all in what was called a celebration of life.
Bro, a radiology student, was remembered during a service in nearby Franklin. Investigators are still working to figure out what motivated Hauser, who had a history of mental illness. Surveillance video shows nothing out of the ordinary as he chats with the clerk at the front desk of his motel in the days before the shooting. Pictures from his room reveal alcohol bottles in a big mess, but so far nothing indicates why the 59-year-old would suddenly open fire on innocent people. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, Lafayette, Louisiana.
Police say John Russell Hauser stood up and began firing about 20 minutes into that movie.
Deputies have caught a suspect in a violent shoplifting case. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Laurel County, where Anthony Sizemore was arrested Sunday morning. He's charged with robbery, assault, and wanton endangerment for the incident at Belk in Corbin. Investigators say Sizemore pushed an elderly woman to the ground and pulled a gun on another person while trying to get away from loss prevention officers. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office tells us that Sizemore led them on a short foot chase before his arrest. A Pulaski County woman is in jail after police say she crashed her truck into a motorcycle. 35-year-old Amber Scales faces 5 felony charges for the crash on Highway 27 in front of the Center for Rural Development. Somerset police say the motorcycle hit the car in front of it. A 19-year-old passenger had to go to a UK hospital for surgery.
Sometimes people choose to take actions that result in other injuries, and unfortunately they have to face consequences like Ms. Scales has had to face in this situation.
Police say Scales was also driving with a suspended license at the time of the crash.
A recall alert for anyone with Kroger spices in their pantry. The company is recalling 4 kinds because of possible salmonella contamination. The recall includes Kroger brand ground cinnamon, garlic powder, coarse ground black pepper, and bacon buds with specific sell-by dates. We have more information on the recall on WKYT.com.
A law that is 3 years old appears to be helping fight prescription drug abuse in Kentucky. That law took effect in 2012, and since then, state officials say they've seen a significant decline in prescriptions for the most commonly abused medications. Doctor shopping has decreased more than 50%, and more people are seeking treatment for pill addiction.
A traffic alert today for anyone with children in the Scott County School District. Starting August 5th, Cardinal Drive will be 1 lane from Long Lick Pike to US 25. The change will be in place from 7:45 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. to 4:15 p.m. each day. The goal is to make student drop-off and pick-up easier at Scott County Middle School, the 9th grade center, and the high school. It is a first for a golf course as it tries to help others. This weekend, a man walked away with a grand prize offered during a charity tournament in Jessamine County.
That's right. Sean Moody shows us what the winner's stroke of luck got him. The story is new at 5.
Lone Oak Golf Course has been doing charity tournaments for a while. Hugh Cantrell helps run them.
We really want it to be something special.
This was the first year for the Western and Southern Reese's Resources golf outing. Reese Kemp is a West Jessamine student with cystic fibrosis. His foundation raises awareness for the disease.
It's a good turnout for the first year.
Anyone who hits a hole-in-one at the course's charity tournaments wins a new car. They'd never given one away.
And I said, it's time to have a winner.
It was about 4:30 Saturday afternoon when Robbie Ryan walked up here to the 17th tee at the Lone Oak Golf Course. He said he was just here to support a good cause. He never expected what was about to happen.
Shot of my life.
The people who were out here said that ball sailed right over the pond and took 2 hops right on the green before dropping right in the cup. After Robbie came up here to the 17th green to collect his ball, he realized this was going to be about a lot more than just bragging rights.
As I threw my club up in the air, and I think I yelled out, I just won a car.
Robbie picked up his brand new Chevy Cruze at Sutherland Chevrolet this morning. This was a big weekend for Hugh also. It's not because of that car, though. It's because of the charity. You see, cystic fibrosis hits right at home for him. His daughter was diagnosed as a young girl.
Being with her during those 22 years, we expected it, but you're never ready for it to happen. I try to support cystic fibrosis every chance we get.
Hugh hopes this will be the first chance of many at Lone Oak Golf Course.
Great start. Looking forward to next year.
In Nicholasville, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Reese Kemp's organization, Reese's Resources, also helps needy Jessamine County families through donation drives around Thanksgiving and Christmas.
It is time now for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. There's a new treatment option for people struggling with high cholesterol. The Food and Drug Administration approved a new drug called Praluent last week. It removes bad cholesterol from the blood. It's an option for those who aren't responding to current medications or who suffer from side effects. Many new mothers aren't getting critical advice about the best way to care for their babies. Danielle Nottingham shows us the role doctors can play in improving those numbers.
Thermometer on his head.
Carrie Ann Hung says her pediatricians have always offered good advice.
They always have said, due to the risk of SIDS, to put the baby to sleep on their back and to not sleep with the baby because you could roll over on the baby.
But a new study finds not all physicians are giving new moms critical advice on current health and safety recommendations. Dr. Tanya Altman says pediatricians should be parents' first source for information.
But sometimes in today's healthcare system, a lot of physicians may find that they just don't have as much time as they want and that they're often rushing between patients.
The study in the journal Pediatrics surveyed more than 1,000 new mothers. About 20% said they weren't offered advice on breastfeeding or told to place babies on their backs to sleep. More than 50% weren't told where infants should sleep.
As a physician, we can't assume that our patients already know what to do. I hope this study is a wake-up call for pediatricians to slow down and make sure that they effectively communicate information to new families.
Carrie Ann says with guidelines always changing, it's important to ask your pediatrician questions.
It really helps to have someone that can explain those things and be supportive.
And experts say that's especially true for first-time moms. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, Calabasas, California.
First-time moms and African American and Hispanic women were more likely to get doctor's advice than white women and mothers with at least 2 children.